This is the world without the Avatar. Pretty hefty intro there, but the world without the Avatar sounds like a messed up place. We see that in this show when Aang disappears and the 100-Year War happens. But I found a comic and fan story that goes over this idea and it focuses on Katara and Zuko, but all credit goes to the original artist and the comic itself will be linked at the top of the description if you want to check it out. Now, the comic starts with Katara finding a shipwreck while still being in the Southern Water Tribe, and when she sees someone injured, instead of it being Aang, she finds Zuko in the ice. She calls for someone and presumably the other tribe members bring back Zuko. Surprisingly, Katara's dad, Hakoda, walks in, and I'm guessing in this timeline he didn't go off to war. And he asks how he is, with Katara saying that he's stable, but might not regain consciousness, and asks if the council has decided his fate yet, but Hakoda tells his daughter that he has to wake up first, as he's clearly been hurt by the Fire Nation, but they also found the blue spirit mask on the shore, which leads Katara to wonder if he might be a waterbender, with Hakoda just giving her a look saying that even if he was a waterbender, it's forbidden in the tribe and she knows this. This makes Katara cry a bit, but at that moment Zuko wakes up asking where he is, which shakes Katara back to normal, with her right in front of Zuko, and from this panel alone, they're definitely setting up the romance for these two. However, Katara asks a slew of questions like what his name is, if he's from the Southern Water Tribe, if he suffered in the battle with the Fire Nation, and if he's hungry, just bombarding the man before he can answer. The next panel shows Zuko sitting in front of Katara, Sokka, and Hakoda, with their father asking him if he doesn't remember anything. And Zuko says he doesn't, which makes you infer that he obviously has amnesia. He tries to remember, but the banished prince says the only thing he remembers is the blue light and the inability to breathe going on with that. He doesn't even know how he got here. Gran senses this from Zuko and says he's telling the truth. Hakoda takes this as a good thing, telling Zuko he's allowed to stay and he'll take the responsibility, and that he's even allowed to stay in their house with him, Katara, and Sokka, also saying they'll find him a job. We see Zuko trying to adjust through all of this as he tries on Water Tribe clothes, with Katara saying it fits great, with Sokka chiming in saying that it looks like his clothes just clean, and that's kinda funny because we know Katara does not like doing this man's laundry. Dinner's made and Zuko tries to eat but nearly gags, asking what the hell that was. Katara seems proud though, asking if Zuko liked it, and that fermented fish is her signature dish, which definitely goes to show Water Tribe food has an acquired taste. However, Zuko, not trying to fumble, agreed it was good, and when asked for more, he says he wants seconds. After this though, 3 months pass with Zuko growing more accustomed to life in the South Pole, with him coming back from fishing with Sokka congratulating Zuko for the nice catch, as it only took him 3 months to relearn fishing, with Zuko telling him to shut up. Katara sees the two and asks if they're going to the festival that night, with Zuko immediately answering with of course, but Katara runs off telling him she'll see him there, and he leans over to Sokka asking which festival, and Sokka teases him saying that he really has to learn to say no. Katara then shows up in a Water Tribe dress asking if he's ready, and bro on the inside wasn't, but he says he is. The next panel is Katara dancing, and I have to give props to the artist because the art in this comic so far has been amazing. Katara walks up though to Zuko, asking if he wants to dance, and he stumbles over himself a bit, answering with that he doesn't dance, or that he doesn't know how to, or that he just doesn't remember at least. Katara teases him, saying that it's funny how his memory works, that he remembers his name but not how to fish or dance. But shooting a shot, he tells her that she dances beautifully. Katara sits down next to him and tells Zuko the dance is based on moves by waterbenders, and that there used to be plenty of them in the South Pole, but the Fire Nation came and eliminated most of them. She goes on telling him so that as to not repeat history, it's forbidden to waterbend in the Southern Water Tribe. She goes on talking about her past, and we see a young Katara asking her mom to wake up, and she tells him that someone very dear to her was killed, and that perhaps the ban is for the best. Zuko asks if she's a waterbender, and the look on her face from what you can see tells you everything you need to know, but she responds with there are no waterbenders here. Trying to move the conversation into a different route, Katara says that since it's getting late, the festival is over and it's time to head back home. They return home saying goodnight to each other, and the chemistry is set in stone. But Zuko is going to ask Hakoda something about the next day, but he then sees the blue spirit mask, which definitely makes him remember something. Presumably the next day, Katara asks Sokka if he's seen Zuko, but he says no, but teases her saying he's seen her boyfriend, with Katara getting red in the face, yelling he's not her boyfriend, and Sokka just laughs at this, and he says he went to the caves. Katara walks inside an ice cave, calling out to Zuko, asking if he's there, blurting out that it's dangerous to wander in the caves. But in the distance, she sees fire, and when she walks closer, confused, she asks if he set up the fireplace, but in my favorite panel of this, Katara finds Zuko firebending. This reveal breaks her, and Zuko hears her also, which just shocks him even more, and Katara says that he lied. He lied to her and the tribe. going on saying that she thought she knew him, going even further with they healed his wounds and accepted him as one of their own. With tears in her eyes, she asks if Zuko is even his real name, demanding for him to tell her the truth, to tell her who he really is. Not having anything left to hide, Zuko agrees, telling her his name is Zuko, he's a firebender and crown prince of the Fire Nation. He says he only learned about it yesterday from when he saw the blue mask in Hakoda's room, and obviously all his memories came flooding back. Katara demands to know how she can even believe him, and Zuko agrees with that she can't. But he didn't want to lie to her, and that he remembers his ship getting in the storm, and that there was water everywhere while the wind burned his skin, and he remembers the struggle to breathe, but the next thing he saw was her face. She questions that if he's a prince, why has no one come looking for him as it's been months? He answers her saying he was alone without a crew, and Katara wonders how that's even possible since he's a member of the royal family, and we all know the reason, but he tells her that he's a crowned prince in exile. He goes on saying that he went against his father while clutching a scar, and now he doesn't even have a home. Katara says it's storming outside and they can't go back, and Zuko tries to get up, saying if she doesn't want him to sit near her, he'll go someplace else. But she tells him to sit down as he'll freeze out there, and he reluctantly agrees. Katara asks Zuko to make some fire, and he asks if she's cold, but she tells him no, it's just that she's never even seen someone bend before. Katara reaches out to the fire and is amazed by it, saying that it's not just warm, but also feels alive. But as it goes out, Katara tells him she lied to him, saying that she told him there were no waterbenders there, but that isn't true as she's a waterbender. Zuko is stunned by this, and Katara tells him she found out the day her mom was killed. As she started crying so much, the ice started swirling and melting around her, and they just aren't allowed to bend, and her father makes sure she doesn't, but she says she still does at night when no one can see. Katara perks up though, telling Zuko she has an idea that he could teach her how to bend, and he's obviously confused by this, with her going on saying that he's the only bender she knows, and that fire and water shouldn't be that different. Even though they are kind of polar opposites, Zuko says that there might be some truth to that, and reveals that his uncle even taught him a technique that was developed from waterbenders, which is obviously lightning redirection. But he tells her that it might work, and Katara yawns, asking if he's going to teach her when they get back, but realizing it'd be better if they did it where no one could find out, and that it'd be their secret. They fall asleep next to each other, and the next morning Katara gets up, saying that the storm's over and they should go back. But Zuko questions if it's a good idea to have a firebender in the water tribe, but Katara responds with that they don't even know that, and she asks him if she can trust him. The next panel, without a doubt though, is the best, as days and nights pass and we see Zuko and Katara bending, and the fire and water contrast each other incredibly well. After practicing bending for a while, Katara shows Zuko a new trick, but he ends up messing with her, evaporating the water she's bending. And he smiles, telling her not to forget that fire beats water, but in response he gets water dumped on his head, with Katara asking if he's sure, and with him saying not at all, and the next scene is the two of them finally kissing. Zuko says her nose is cold as they warm themselves with his firebending, and Katara asks Zuko what he's gonna do, or if he's gonna even stay. But Zuko tells her he needs to save someone, that being Uncle Iroh, as he was captured when Zuko escaped, and he tells her he owes him. But the comic ends here, with Sokka walking in the cave, calling out for both of them and that Hakoda's looking for the two, but that's when Sokka catches him firebending, which horrifies Zuko and Katara, and she yells at him to run. That's the ending to the actual comic itself. Sucks there isn't more, but it's really good, and the setup between Zuko and Katara works incredibly well, but that cliffhanger though was crazy. I feel like the potential though for this story is massive, and if someone made a continuation of the comic or just made the actual story itself, it would work wonders, to be honest. But what do you think about it? Let me know down below. But with all that out of the way, if you liked the video, then be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Go check out my other channels and go follow me at TikTok, which will all be linked down below. And if you like more Avatar content and videos like this, then be sure to check out the other videos on the channel. But with all that out of the way, I will catch you in the next one. Peace.